Hey yo, welcome back to the channel. We sit in the dark, but we know the light. Let's get it. Enlighten one.
What if these aliens that people keep talking about are not even aliens at all? Because this exorcist right here, named Chad Ripperger, he don't think those gray aliens are extraterrestrials at all. He think they're more of demonic. He think they're demons. Demons. And the reason he said he believed that is because he said he listened to a lot of stories where people was abducted. He said, and the same stories they told is the same things he witnessed when he was doing like an exorcist or some shit for a demonic case. He said they were one and the same. Y'all, and it could get deep at people thinking that these are fallen angels. Then you got a lot of people thinking they're in the government or they run the government. So I don't know, y'all. I need y'all thoughts down below. What do y'all think? Do y'all think these are real aliens that come from outer space, or do y'all think these are demons designed to solve slow and outdated global oil transactions? And Trump is set to officially announce it on June 1st, in just 10 days. So I instantly checked Deck Screener and I found the project, Strategic American Oil Supply, SAOS. The more oil the US sell and captures, the higher the price of SAOS will go. But the crazy part, after doing more research, I found out that BlackRock just added SAOS to their official public crypto portfolio. And just a few days ago, Coinbase, the largest crypto exchange in the world, listed the same project, SAOS, Strategic American Oil Supply. It's up there. At the same time, the holder count has been exploding every single minute. The current price of SAOS is sitting at less than a cent. So once this reaches $1 on June 1st, that will be 140x. So 1,000 can turn into 140K. Major institutes is loading up on SAOS. And if Trump announced this on June 1st, we can see this coin go parabolic overnight. When this is announced, I'm expecting at least 140x. Comment oil for the official CA. So the NBA just showed that they rigging shit again? We all know that Knicks is in the conference final, but we didn't know the Cavaliers was in the conference final yet. Being though it's tied 3-3 with Pistons. They literally aired this on a commercial, fool. Y'all, look at this shit.
Conference finals, Cavaliers, Knicks.
ABC, what y'all doing? Ain't no way y'all did that, fool. It's no way. Y'all did this on purpose, right? Now, if y'all was smart, you gotta know, since they fucked up like this, the Pistons is gonna win now. It's only right the Pistons gotta win now because they didn't show the script. That was not supposed to be seen. I'm believing that's not supposed to be seen. I even got my own little twist on things on what I think is gonna happen. I believe Knicks is going to the finals. Then it's gonna be the Spurs. Spurs is gonna be OKC. OKC is then going to get Kevin Durant on the offseason because it's going to be the same way KD did when he joined Golden State when they lost. He's going to join OKC and then they're going to win next year. Oh, nah. Why does it seem like every month there's a new terrifying virus headline? Because now officials are warning about a possible spread of Ebola, since 65 people in Africa has got the virus and died. If y'all remember anything about the last Ebola outbreak, you can see why people freaking out about this. So now you had norovirus, hantavirus, now Ebola outbreak. This Ebola virus has one of the scariest reputations on this earth. Like once people hear the word Ebola, they start panicking. You got health officials trying to monitor this situation very closely so they can stop the spread, because y'all already know this shit can get crazy. We are battling 3 things at one time. All I know is just stop all flights from coming from over there where this is located to America immediately. Experts are saying Ebola spread through direct contact through bodily fluids, not like COVID. But you already know social media don't care about the details. They see Ebola, 65 dead, and a possible spread. They immediately jump to, oh shit, this is about to be another pandemic. So do y'all think people is overreacting over this headline, or do y'all think people should be worried a little bit? Yeah, I do not like this man Jeff Bezos, but I do agree with what he just said. He said got a lot of people arguing right now. I mean, arguing. The bottom half of America should not be paying tax. They should not be paying federal income tax. And I know people like, why are you agreeing with that? You must be on the bottom half of America. And if I am, let me be. And if they come up and say we don't have to pay taxes, I'm gonna take that as well. Why are we taxing struggling workers when we the richest country on this earth? And I'm like, why are we? You should say the same thing. Why are we? I mean, I do know the answer, because we're greedy as fuck. We brought up a nurse that makes $75,000 and he said she shouldn't be taxed either. So when we talk about the bottom half, where's the number? Is it people that make less than 100,000? Is that bottom half? You have a lot of people split on this. You got some people saying you finally got somebody that's rich, that's willing to speak up and help regular people. People saying, but hold up, this is coming from one of the richest men in the why this is going. You got people saying, why is he saying don't tax the bottom half of America? When at your corporation, you do not pay your employees that's working for you the money that they should be making. So the real question is, do y'all agree with what Jeff Bezos said? Or do y'all think this is another billionaire PR stunt?
6 million dead in the Congo, an active Ebola outbreak, a genocide happening in real time, and the United States and the UAE just showed up, not with medicine, with $100 million to guard the mines. You see, the DRC sits on an estimated $24 trillion worth of minerals, cobalt, copper, coltan, lithium, the materials inside everyone's phone, every electric car, every piece of tech the Western world depends on. That wealth, it belongs to the Congolese people, except they've never been able to keep it. Right now, there are at least 131 people dead and over 530 infected with Ebola. There's no vaccine, there's no approved treatment, and the West made sure the response system wasn't there to catch it. 300,000 people have died as a result of cuts to critical health aid in the Congo, and the US and UAE turned around and funded the mines. That's not a coincidence. That's a priority list. The West has never helped Africa. That's always been a lie. You can't extract trillions from a continent, collapse its health system, and call yourself a helper. That's not aid. That's management. And then they wrote the check. $100 million for a paramilitary force described in their own words as a unit to secure the entire mineral exploitation chain. 20,000 armed guards across all 22 mining provinces by 2028, not to protect the people, to protect the mines. You see, the Congo isn't poor. The Congo is being kept poor. And that difference is $24 trillion that's never belonged to the people it was taken from. They're not coming to help. What they're coming for is what's underneath the ground. And they don't care how many dead bodies they need to step over it to get there. And if you didn't know, now you know.
This graph is really concerning. It's showing the speed at which this Ebola outbreak is moving and outpacing every prior outbreak that we have ever seen. But I want to take a second to show you how we ever ended up where we are today with this. So this represents the multi-pronged, multi-center response that would typically contain Ebola outbreaks from spreading. So starting off, we have the Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response, which sits at the White House, which would often coordinate the different United States institutions to make sure that everyone's doing their job. But unfortunately, this office has sat vacant and empty both from a staff perspective and a leadership perspective since this new administration took office last year. So next, at the CDC, we had special pathogen teams that had epidemiologists with expertise in responding to Ebola and other special pathogens. We had lab specialists that knew all about testing. And unfortunately, many of those people no longer exist. And of course, the CDC saw a mass defunding and vacancies in the prior year, so they are still responding, but not as effectively as they used to. And over at the NIH, we had institutional leaders leading the infectious disease division and people doing Ebola research, but unfortunately, those no longer exist as well. And of course, the NIH saw massive defunding within the prior year as well. And then we had the US supply chain giving foreign aid to many of these countries, which has been stopped completely. And of course, the United States pulled out of the WHO. And the United States provided lots and the majority of the funding for the WHO. And of course, we have USAID. USAID was the major player in all of these outbreak responses. They had government relations with local leaders in those areas. They had local relations with community leaders in these areas. They built up local trust over multiple years. They built up intelligence to share with all these different institutions. They also had lots of local clinics everywhere. And of course, USAID was just completely gutted. So what's left in this response, you can see, is not the same thing. This effort was meant to contain this. And yes, the threat to the United States remains very low, but these public health programs were meant to protect global health and reduce morbidity and mortality within these countries, and also prevent the humanitarian loss that is likely to be felt for years from this outbreak. So if you want to help, I encourage you to reach out to your representatives. Tag them in the comments below. Tell them that you want to see a reinvestment in global health, and you also want to see a reinvestment in the United States public health. Because public health is not just meant for some people, it's meant to protect everyone.
Guys, we have some brand new updates on the Ebola situation, and it is not going to be what you expect. So since we last talked about this, the cases have literally tripled to over 1,000 in Congo and is still climbing every single day.
Overseas now to the deadly and rapidly spreading Ebola outbreak in Africa. The number of reported cases now above 900 in the Congo.
The World Health Organization has now declared a full global health emergency, and the director did it before they even held the meeting. That's how fast this is moving right now. The U.S. has also now banned green card holders from Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan from coming back into the country, which they didn't even do for COVID. People have been storming the hospitals and burning down treatment centers because they genuinely do not believe that Ebola is even real. 18 patients who had Ebola actually went missing after one of the centers was destroyed, and nobody knows where they are still to this moment. Existing Ebola vaccines don't even work on this strain, and right now there's nothing to do about it. Oxford right now is trying to use the same exact tech from the COVID vaccine to try and build one, but it's still months from even being tested on people. This story changes every single day, so make sure you go ahead and follow me now if you don't want to miss the next update.
Breaking news happening right now as an Air France flight that left Paris was diverted and denied entry into the United States. Its destination was the Detroit Metro Airport, and it was diverted to Montreal, where it has landed, and it was denied entry because it turned out that a passenger on board was from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we currently have the Ebola outbreak happening, and there is a travel restriction for anyone from that country to the United States, along with South Sudan and Uganda. So they had to divert the flight, and we are hearing now that the flight attendants put on masks and protective gear to get all the passengers off, but right now it seems this passenger did not exhibit any symptoms and is not known to have the virus, but they're just taking every precaution possible to try and prevent the further spread and outbreak of this virus. So guys, this could turn into something serious here. There are over 300 people on this flight, so hopefully this person did not have Ebola and that everyone is okay. Again, Ebola has to be transmitted with bodily fluids. It's not airborne like COVID-19 was. So this should be okay, but this is just an abundance of caution and just shows how it is hard for the United States to logistically enforce these travel restrictions. We're not sure how this passenger got on that flight heading for the United States when they weren't supposed to. Spread the word, follow along for more. There'll be updates, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
U.S. citizens exposed to Ebola will not be coming home, apparently. The New York Times, citing 3 people with knowledge of the plans, reports the Trump administration is sending them to Kenya for observation and treatment. It is a break from normal practice. Citizens are usually repatriated, especially when their home country can offer a higher standard of medical care. And by the way, we're equipped to do it. Back in 2014, Dr. Craig Spencer contracted Ebola while treating patients in Guinea. He was in intensive care in Bellevue Hospital right here in New York City for 19 days. Other Americans were evacuated to places like Omaha, Nebraska, and treated in specialized U.S. facilities with advanced ICU care and isolation rooms. Dr. Spencer survived, and he's now telling the Times that the U.S. is abdicating its responsibility to protect American citizens. Right now, roughly 1,000 people have been infected with Ebola in Congo, an outbreak that has killed more than 200 people in just 11 days. It is the 3rd largest outbreak right now so far on record. The Trump administration has sent one American doctor with symptoms to Germany and monitored 6 other Americans in Germany and the Czech Republic. The original plan was to monitor high-risk Americans in Kenya while transferring anyone who developed symptoms to Europe for treatment. But now dozens of U.S. Public Health Service officers are reportedly being trained to deploy to Kenya to provide treatment there. Here is how Secretary of State Marco Rubio explained the new policy today during a cabinet meeting at the White House.
The number one priority of our foreign policy is to protect the American people. We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States. So we've surged assistance to make sure that is being contained there. And obviously, multiple agencies involved here are also very involved in tracking people, just to make sure that nobody comes into this country that has Ebola and creates a problem for us.
These are American citizens, and again, we have treated them here at home before and done so successfully. MS Now senior medical analyst and critical care physician with the U.S. Air Force Reserves, Dr. Vin Gupta, says Kenya, while better than Congo, is not the U.S. He says it lacks the same level of critical care infrastructure and warned Ebola can turn rapidly and unpredictably. Quote, from a moral standpoint, he told us, we are leaving Americans behind with substandard care. We owe them better. This comes, by the way, as the U.S. has already arguably made it easier for Ebola to spread, cutting U.S. aid and the very systems designed to stop outbreaks before they get out of control, like laboratories, medical supply distribution, and disease surveillance in places like Eastern Congo. Things that could have stopped or at least mitigated this outbreak, which experts worry was spreading undetected for weeks, possibly months.
The quarantine facility was supposed to become operational today, but that is not happening. New York City has been added to the list of places that will accept travelers from Ebola-affected countries. JFK Airport in Queens will begin performing enhanced screenings.
This is your Ebola update for Tuesday, May 26th. Ebola patients are reportedly fleeing hospitals in the Democratic Republic of Congo after treatment centers were attacked during this growing outbreak. According to Reuters, angry crowds stormed Ebola facilities, demanding the bodies of loved ones so they could perform traditional burials. But health officials warn Ebola victims remain highly contagious even after death, making those funerals especially dangerous. During one attack, isolation tents were burned and more than 24 suspected Ebola patients escaped into the community. In fact, officials say at least one confirmed Ebola case is still missing. The outbreak involves a rare strain of Ebola, and it's a strain that has no approved vaccine and limited treatment options. The World Health Organization says the epidemic is now, quote, outpacing response efforts, with hundreds of suspected cases and more than 200 suspected deaths reported across Congo and Uganda. Health experts say fear, misinformation, and violence are now becoming some of the biggest obstacles to containing this virus. Africa's CDC warns 10 African countries are now considered at risk, while WHO officials are calling for urgent international cooperation. They're being very clear, and they're warning that no single country can respond to the magnitude of this outbreak alone. I'm Simone D'Alba. I'm a journalist in Washington, D.C. with WUSA 9. Drop me a comment, ask me a question, and I'll try to get you some answers.
So here is your daily Ebola outbreak update today. It is the 28th of May, 2026. Here's the numbers from the CDC. 1,077 suspected cases. I'm telling you right now, that number is on the very low end. 121 confirmed cases. So they say, John, how can there be so many suspected cases to confirmed cases? What they do is they basically see where these cases are originating from. They use the symptoms, and apparently this specific strain of Ebola is a pain in the ass to find, and they don't have enough fucking testing equipment to do the test, so they're basically saying, well, this person was around a person that died from Ebola, this person's sick, showing the symptoms, it's a suspected case. Confirmed cases, hey, we drew blood, we did the PCR, it came back positive for the Booty Bongya strain, so we know that it is Ebola. 246 suspected deaths, same thing. People died of the symptoms. They were around somebody that had it. They're going off of symptoms. They did draw blood from these people or whatever they could do. So they will be confirmed eventually, but now they are waiting on tests. And they basically do the same thing. Hey, this person was in this area. Yada, yada, yada. Bim-ya, 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 shaka. 17 confirmed deaths. So that means that there's only been 17 confirmed deaths from the virus. I'm thinking there's like some 250 suspected deaths. Only 17 of them have been confirmed. Now these numbers are way on the low side. They're not even at the tip of the fucking iceberg yet. They don't have the personnel, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the time, they don't have nothing. Like, they're literally battling a fire that is overgrown far beyond the reach of the fire hoses right now. So hopefully they can get more people in there. Nobody wants to volunteer though, because you're fucking with the deadliest virus in the world, so it's scary. And I give huge props to the people that do that job, because that is the most dangerous job in the world. It is the scariest job in the world, and it takes humongous sack to be that person. Humongous sack. So, I believe the 2 cases that were suspected in Italy came back negative. So that's a good thing. But I'm sure that there will be a lot more cases around the world. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Other than that, hopefully they stop burning down the fucking treatment centers and stop attacking the medical workers, and they can kind of get this under control. Because as of right now, in 2014 and 2015, there was 28,000 cases and 11,000 deaths. I think that this is going to supersede that by a lot. So hopefully not, but like I said, they don't even have almost a grip on it. So we need to send our prayers that way. And governments of the world need to stand up and send resources and money and people. Love you guys.
I'm back. It's May 29th, 2026. Here's your hantavirus and Ebola update from an infectious disease epidemiologist. First things first, hey y'all, it's good to see ya. Thanks for joining. Let's get into the facts. The facts are that they are looking for volunteers. Volunteers, where? At the CDC. Why, you may ask? Because they fired everybody. But in addition to that, they need volunteers to screen passengers that are coming to the U.S. that are returning from some of the regions that have been impacted by the Ebola outbreak. Those cities include Atlanta, Georgia, Virginia, Dulles Airport to be exact, and Houston International Airport. This is embarrassing, but we move. So the main concern is that the Ebola outbreak is like 10 times worse than the hantavirus outbreak, and it also is climbing in terms of individuals who have lost their lives, which is very, very sad. In terms of the hantavirus updates, the main update that I have is that there are no new cases that have been reported, which is a good sign. It means that we have essentially found all of the individuals who were potentially exposed or were on the MV Hondius, and so those individuals will be being released towards the end of the month of June. So what can you do about this? Make sure you follow me for more.